So how do you kick off a conversation with the HR manager? How do you discover why the role is even open? And then how do you end it typically?
Yeah, great. So I think the first couple things you want to do, the first question you want to ask in any interview, whether it's an HR manager or someone, is, hey, Arjun, thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this interview with you. I'm curious. I know you probably have a lot of questions for me, but before we get started, would you mind sharing what was it about my background that made you want to speak with me today? Boom. Now you have the answers to your test, right? So you have your cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Whatever he or she tells you on that in that answer is what you know you need to focus on. Everything else almost becomes irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then the second thing you want to do is you want to open up the interview with them. So making it about them. So I've been told this a lot, and I share this all the time too, is nobody cares about how much you know until they know about how much you care, right? And you think about when you're interviewing with someone, on the other side is they're just a human being, right? Can I get this person to open up? Can I get them to talk about themselves? Can I make them, right? Because every interviewer, whether they know it or not, comes in with some sort of preformed bias about you. I'm going to ask these questions. I want to hear these answers, and they need to say this, they need to say that. So I want to break that wall down immediately. So right after I ask that first question, what I want to do is then say, hey, by the way, thank you for answering that. And I was quickly want to mention, I had a chance to look at your LinkedIn profile. I noticed that, several years ago, you were working in insurance, and now you're in health. Like, what was that like? Or what made you want to go to this? And or you've been here for 9 years. What's kept you here so long? Or I saw that you started your own business 5 years ago. That had to have been tough. What made you want to come back into the corporate world? Or how was that experience like? I don't care what the question is, just ask something about them, right?
Right.
Now you might most likely, at least, even if you don't go full on into it, you'll at least give me something. And now I'm sort of breaking down your wall chip by chip by chip, right? So then now I've got you talking about you. You're feeling a little bit better about yourself. Cool. Now you probably like me a little bit more. Yeah. Then throughout the interview, I'm not just sitting there being transactional, meaning I don't want to just answer every question you ask me, because that doesn't help me stand out, because I'm not making you feel a particular way, right? So now let's say you ask me a question. I would answer the question, or every couple questions I answer, I would flip it back to them and I would say, is that sort of what you're looking to hear? Or how are things done at your company? I can't imagine the way I've done it is the only way it's been done, or something like that. And then, like you said, and when it comes time to start asking more questions, I would also ask, like, I'm curious, why is this position open? What are you hoping for somebody to come in here and solve within the next 6 months, 1 year from starting this job? Right? What are other people doing now that's working really well and that's not working really well? And I'm becoming very consultative, right? And so the more you tell me about why this position's open, what you're hoping to solve, what's not working, what you've tried that hasn't worked, the more I know what to say, right?
Yeah.
And more importantly, I know what to avoid. Because if I start talking about something I've done that I think is badass, but you're trying and it's not working, then immediately I'm disqualifying myself, right? And separating us. But instead of me just talking about me, I'm like, let me learn as much as I can about you, right? The whole idea of, Jordan Belfort talks about sell me this pen. The idea behind that is he doesn't want to sell to somebody who doesn't need a pen. So first he would say, are you even in the market for a pen? What kind of pen are you using? What's working with that pen? What's not working with that pen? Now I know if my pen is the right pen for you or not, right? Or one of the pens I have. And so it's the same sort of kind of concept here, where I don't want to just talk about my experiences willy-nilly. I want to know exactly what you need, why you need it, what you've been doing, what's not working, what's working. Then and only then will I know what's relevant to you and what's irrelevant, right? And then so that's how I would play the whole interview out, is back and forth, conversational, consultative. And then I usually wrap an interview by asking a very, like, what most people would think is an audacious question, which is I would just say, hey, listen, is there anything about my background that concerns you about my ability to do this job? Because I would love to clarify or confirm any of your concerns.
Like
how badass is it to be like, I want to confirm my shortcomings.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what that helps you to do is, one, it catches any red flags they have in real time. Because what most people regret after they go on interviews is they'll say, shit, I wish I said this, or I shouldn't have said that, or I said too much about this, or whatever. So now, if you ask them that question, sometimes they will say, I just feel like you haven't worked on any large enterprise projects yet. So then you can say, you know what, you're absolutely right, I haven't. But I have had exposure to them when I was doing XYZ thing at XYZ company. And the reason I feel relatively qualified to address that is because I saw how the steps they took when they were working on enterprise level projects. And here's what I learned from that I think I could potentially apply here, right? So now you're confirming, but you're also redirecting them to a positive. So you're kind of like helping them ease any pain points they have of you by confirming it and absorbing it, rather than saying, oh, no, but. It's like, no,
right.
let's not say the buts. Let's actually acknowledge what they're saying and then redirect them to a different positive and then ease their concerns.
I love that.
That would be the talk track or language that I use in an interview.